already know this video is going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to speak my mind anyway. If you are talking to someone new, take off the rose-colored glasses. I know it's fun to romanticize everything. I do it too. But take off the glasses and see things for what they are instead of the way you want them to be. Exhibit A. I was talking to a guy for the last month and a half, and we had plans to hang out last weekend, so I didn't plan anything else. I was like, yeah, it's just gonna be me and him. Cute. He got too drunk on Saturday to hang out, didn't invite me to come, and I didn't invite myself. I was like, okay, do your thing, I guess. So I was like, we'll probably hang Sunday. But then Sunday rolled around and he was too hungover to hang out. So I ended up calling him that evening and I was like, yeah, this is not working. I think at the bare minimum, I want someone who's excited enough to see me that they plan accordingly and don't get too drunk the night before. And anyway, I wasn't judging him or his lifestyle, but I realized it's not conducive with mine and it's not what I want. So point being, take off those glasses sooner rather than later.
That is a giant lie. She did not cancel it. She did not let him know that she had boundaries. When girls say that they've been dating a guy for a few months and all this, that doesn't mean that they're not out there having fun with the dude. They just haven't been able to get a relationship yet. You see, you got all these girls chasing Chad, and they want to call it, oh yeah, we're just dating, and all this kind of... Make no mistake, gentlemen, they have absolutely no boundaries when it comes to the men that they want. They just want to pretend like they do. But what is going on, gentlemen? It is Taylor the Fiend back again with another response video. And on today's show, guys, we're going to be breaking down a couple of videos and looking at a couple of stories together. But if you're new here, gentlemen, before we start, make sure you subscribe on your way in and come and join the locals and the Discord, links in the description. But we're going to keep the intro nice and short today and just jump over this video one more time and break it down. So as we go through, guys, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments and let us know what you think. Let's have a look.
I already know this video is going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to speak my mind anyway. If you are talking to someone new, take off the rose-colored glasses. I know.
And the reason that she's saying this, okay, guys, is because she has made this mistake and will continue to make this mistake for a long time to come. Girls who say, oh, you need to see the relationship for what it is, it means they have no relationship with the guy. The guy is not interested in them, right? And here's the thing about this, okay? You got all these ladies out here doing this exact same kind of behavior, right? And then all of the other men, all of these girls are chasing the top percentage of men, right? And then the bottom percentage of men, the bottom 80% of men, they're not getting any action. Okay, so what ends up happening is all these girls are sitting out here crying over dudes that they can't get. Meanwhile, nobody's happy at all. But make no mistake, when she says this, it's because that's all she does, is chase guys who don't want a relationship with her.
I know it's fun to romanticize everything. I do it too. But take off the glasses and see things for what they are instead of...
There's nothing romantic about what you're doing, all right? You're chasing guys that are out of your league, right? And when they say, oh, we're dating, they're not... it's not as if the guys are out here getting these ladies flowers. You know what I'm saying? It's like the guys are busy, and then the girls come over when they can fit in, if they're allowed to join. Notice at the end of the story how she's continuing with the story, right? He doesn't seem to have time for her. He's not interested in seeing her. The girls adjust their schedule to his. You see?
Instead of the way you want them to be. Exhibit A. I was talking to a guy for the last month and a half, and
she didn't even use the word dating there, right? She's been talking to the guy for the last month and a half. I mean, you gentlemen tell me in the comments, what does that mean? Okay, it's not, oh yeah, we were talking, we were just having friendly conversations. No, it was, you know, come over. It's Wednesday at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I've got an hour available for you to come on over. This whole thing of, oh yeah, we were talking. This is why when this is one of the reasons why when girls say, oh, he's just a friend, oh, he's just that, right? That you can't believe them, because they're always going to use words that don't actually match what's happening. Oh yeah, we were just talking, right? Or I saw this guy a few times. Like, what do you think that means? They're always going to use language where it makes them not look as bad.
We had plans to hang out last weekend, so I didn't plan anything else. I was like, yeah, it's just gonna be me and him. Cute. He got too drunk on Saturday to hang out, didn't invite me to come, and
Yeah. And here's the thing. This is actually something very funny that you will notice about a lot of girls who are, let's just say, head over heels for their boyfriends and their partners and stuff like that. You will notice that one of the things that the girls cry about the most is the fact that, oh, he isn't posting me on social media. You will get girls who have been out of a relationship for 2 years and they will still remember their boyfriend from 2 years ago who wouldn't post them to their social media. You see, when they don't get the validation, when they don't get the attention, when they don't get shown off, right, they lose their damn minds because they want to be the one taking that spot in this guy's life, right? And when he doesn't want to commit, you know, it causes all sorts of problems.
I didn't invite myself. I was like, okay, do your thing, I guess. So I was like, we'll probably hang Sunday. But then Sunday rolled around and he was too hungover to hang out. So I ended up calling him that evening and I was like, yeah, this is not working. I think it's
Okay, that first of all, that's a lie, and we'll get into that in a second. She didn't call him and go, oh, and start to talk about her boundaries. No, 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 that's not what happened. But notice there how she still is trying to follow up with him, right? He seems to be doing his own thing, but she wants to join along with him. And here's the funny part, and this is something we're going to crack into as we continue with today's episode, gentlemen, is the fact that, you know, these girls will be getting attention from a bunch of different sources, and yet they choose the guy who will not give them attention. Okay, and they want to pretend as though, yeah, so what? I'm getting attention from all these other guys. It doesn't matter. Meanwhile, you got the bottom 80% of men. And I use the word bottom because that's what the ladies consider the bottom 80% of men. Right? It's not just, you see, there are lots of good men, right, who care about things and have hobbies, care about their family and their friends. That crap doesn't matter to these girls, man. Any guy who's average, any guy who's middle of the road, you know, he might be an honest hard worker. He's boring. He's not good enough. You see, because they already got the attention from everywhere else, excuse me. And, you know, they just refuse to see it, how privileged they are in dating, right? And the girls like this will turn around at 30 and 40, want to lock down a husband, right? And have some kids or something like that because she's running out of damn time. Maybe she won't in time, who knows? But, you know, and then you'll get these ladies who are very bitter because they haven't been able to secure commitment from a dude that they want.
at the bare minimum. I want someone who's excited enough to see me that they plan accordingly and don't get too drunk the night before. And anyway, I wasn't judging him or his lifestyle, but I realized it's not conducive with mine, and it's not.
Yeah, she didn't call him. She didn't explain these details. She might have called him and tried to like guilt trip him or say that she was upset or something like that. But that's not going to stop her from seeing the guy. You see what I'm saying? A lot of these girls, man, who get into situations like this, they will get into these situationships, these things that aren't relationships. They will be led on essentially for months and months and months. It's kind of like those guys, and if you're doing this, gentlemen, please stop, right? It's kind of like those guys who are in girls' DMs, right, thinking that they're going to have a chance, and then the girl will lead them on for months and even years kind of thing, thinking that they're eventually going to give the guy a relationship. Right? Girls will lead on men much more severely. Okay, and but when guys do it to them, they lose their mind. But what I'm trying to say here is girls like this will chase men for very long periods of time. It's not as if she's been talking to him for a month and a half or a month and then goes, oh, well, you know what, I have boundaries and self-respect, so I'm not talking to you anymore. The guy that she's talking about here, if she ever gets a future boyfriend, put it to you this way, if this girl ever gets a future boyfriend, like a committed relationship or whatever the case may be, this guy that she's currently talking about will continue to be a threat to him, if that makes sense.
Not what I want. So, point being, take off those glasses sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and again, before we jump into more of today's episode, gentlemen, again, the reason why she's saying that is because that's all she does, right? Like, that's literally all she does. But I'm going to have to adjust the volume here because I believe the next one is quite loud, so just be careful with your ears, gentlemen, as we hop on over.
Anything.
Oh, this one's a bit of a rough one as well. Goodness gracious me. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's have a look at this, okay? So this lady is about to give us some dating advice, okay? And gentlemen, these types of videos, man, they really go a long way to show what is actually happening, right? This video, like, oftentimes people will come to this channel and go, Taylor, you're cherry picking the people that you show. Taylor, you're cherry picking all this stuff. This video, okay, you guys can't see it, it's off screen to the right here. It has 594,000 likes on TikTok. And that means that those likes are only a fraction of the amount of views it gets. So I want you to consider as we watch this video, and as we watch this video, videos like this have a huge impact on people. They really do. And there are a lot of these. So without further ado, let's crack into it.
This is a very dirty trick to figure out whether somebody likes you, and I mean, you should know about it. Maybe you shouldn't use it because it's also known as the cry test. If they are in fact into you and you start crying, they will do anything at all to stop those tears running down your face.
And this is what we talk about, gentlemen, when we talk about the whole using emotions. You see, a lot of guys are in relationships and they don't quite understand that. You know that phrase, gentlemen, all is fair in love and war. Okay, these girls are out here literally treating relationships and love and stuff like that like it's a game. I said this the other day, but if you are an older guy, perhaps you're a bit more established in life, you've got a bit more experience, or you've been working hard, you've got a house or something, or you're working on paying off your house. If you're a guy, what I'm trying to say here is, if you're a guy who's more established in life, especially if you have money, if you're an older gentleman, these girls will target you. They absolutely will. And one of the things that they will target you with is emotions. Okay, something I've talked about on this channel before we continue with the video, is the fact that, look, I often encourage you guys, if you're going to choose to date, please choose to date the girls who are actually interested in you. Don't be wasting your time having these long conversations on Tinder and trying to prove yourself to these girls. Okay, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of your energy, it's a waste of your commitment and your money. All right? So oftentimes I'll give you guys the advice, hey, well, if you're going to go out there and date, just make sure the girl actually likes you. Don't be trying to convince her of anything, right? I don't think that men should be out here trying to convince other people to like them. I think that's a very silly thing to do. You're welcome to do it if you want, but just be prepared to waste a lot of your own damn time. Anyway, with that in mind, a lot of guys will go out and they will start dating, and they will date girls who like them back. One of the things you have to be concerned about is the fact that some of these girls will target you, and when I use the word target, I mean in a bad sense. Okay, they're after your house, they're after this or that. Am I saying that all girls will do this? No. Okay, but you've got to understand one of the tools in their tool belt that they will often use is crying. A lot of times tears are just, I'm just going to straight up say it, gentlemen, a lot of times tears are not genuine at all. If you've been dating for any period of time, if you're a guy who's been around the block for a few times, you should know by now that not all tears are genuine, and in fact most of them, I would dare say, are not. Let's keep going.
Because they will feel sympathy. However, if they resist and feel annoyed, they hate you. This is a very...
Sorry if I just blew out your eardrums, by the way, gentlemen. The video just seemed to have picked up in volume. But we're going to leave that video there and kind of get into today's stories now. Goodness gracious me. I've actually got a story pulled up here that was deleted, so we can still kind of see the words. And this is something I wasn't going to cover this because it was deleted, but then I went back and I saw the fact that we can actually go over it because the text is still here, okay? But let's have a look at this. And this goes into the point of people targeting, okay? How to tell my boyfriend I'm ready for marriage. I, a 30-year-old female, have been with my boyfriend who's 38 for 8 years. He's amazing and wonderful. He was ready for marriage by like year 2 or earlier, but I was still in my early 20s. We all know what that means, right? Like, there used to be a time when marriage was encouraged to happen earlier on rather than later on. But you got all these girls out here thinking, well, I've got more time, right? I can lock down a partner later on because, hey, these guys still like me. Right? And girls get really upset when you mention concepts like the wall and stuff like that. They lose their damn minds because a lot of girls, what they do is they go out and date, and then they don't realize until too late that they can't lock down the man that they want for marriage and stuff like that. But anyway, let's continue. Blah, blah, blah. Back then, I just sort of laughed off his comments about when we get married and would make my own casual comments about how I was definitely not ready yet. Yeah, I mean, got to keep that window open, you know. He got the point and really backed off about it, and essentially the ball is in my court to let him know when I'm ready. Over the years, we have really grown together, made it through some rough patches, discussed and worked through things, and are strong as a couple. I would love to be married to him. He is an amazing man, and the years we have spent together have just reinforced that for me. Dude, girls who say, I'm ready for marriage, yeah, no crap, you're ready for marriage. It's almost like it benefits you. When girls say, oh yeah, I'm ready for marriage, or I'd like to get married, No kidding, you'd like to go on a free yacht trip. You know, it's like, really, you want to get married? Well, why wouldn't you want to get married? Okay, you get financial security, you get relationship security, right? And hell, if you guys have kids, you can leave at any time, take the kids, right? Why the hell? There's no downside for a woman getting married. There absolutely isn't. And you've got all these girls out here saying, "Oh yeah, I'm ready." I mean, it's cool that you're ready. That's fantastic that you're ready for a relationship, but that doesn't mean that it has to be given to you. It is a gift, right? Marriage, marriage is a risk for a man. It is a gift for a woman. Okay. But anyway, on the topic of the first video, gentlemen, I've actually got a couple of stories pulled up here, and I kind of wanted to talk about, look, a lot of the things we talk about on the channel, we will talk about how girls will chase after guys who, are above them, and they'll put up with crappy behavior, right? This is another story where girls will just kind of put up with stuff. Let's have a look. I'm a 31-year-old female, and I'm pretty sure I'm the other woman and have been for nearly 2 years. How do I tell my boyfriend who's 35 that I know? How do I get myself out of this pseudo-relationship? Apologies for the novel. The first blah blah blah. So I met my boyfriend who's a 35-year-old male on a dating app. Interesting. He is fit, hardworking, and outdoorsy. He was an absolute catch. We lived about 2 hours apart, so not terribly long distance, but not convenient either. I was fine with the long distance because I am an independent person and I move at a slower pace in a relationship. I mean, if that's not just a hell of a red flag right there, right? The girls move slow in a relationship. Okay, if these ladies are out here moving slow in relationships, right? And before I'll address the fast component of this as well, right? But if these girls are moving slow in relationships, what do you guys think is happening during the time where they don't have any people that they're committed to? Right? It's not as if they're sitting around at home twiddling their thumbs, working their Starbucks jobs, right? These girls, when they say I'm single or I move at a slower pace when I'm looking for commitment, it's not as if they're sitting at home twiddling their thumbs, guys. Like, these girls are actively out here. A lot of them are clubbing and stuff like that. Not all girls will be out there doing that, but you've got to understand that girls are not really single men. They're not. And that's something that will come around and haunt them later on in life. But anyway. Blah blah blah. We saw each other about once a month and texted nearly constantly via Snapchat. Goodness gracious me. We've been in a long-distance relationship for a year and 8 months. A couple of months into the relationship, I noticed he had some tendencies that seemed odd to me. However, I, as an independent person, wasn't going to get too worked up over them. Examples. He didn't seem willing to give me his phone number. I could never come visit him. He always made the drive to me. We both lived with our respective parents, and I know this is 100% true on his part, so I wasn't totally thrown off that he didn't want us hanging out at his parents' house. Also, because of this, the bedroom fun was infrequent. He never had his phone out on dates. At first I thought this was respectful, but likely nefarious and scumbaggy in retrospect. There were some days when he would go radio silent and then tell me it was due to being exhausted. He usually worked 2 or close to, or over 80 hours a week. I know this to be true too, so I totally got him needing quiet days. I need quiet days. It made sense. About a year into things, the start of 2021, I had grown quite attached to him and was craving more time together. He would promise all kinds of things, but they never ended up happening. I finally lost my temper when he said he was heading south for a long weekend with friends. I was hurt. His friends were more a priority than me, and this led to a ton of fighting, which resulted in him gaslighting me hardcore. Anyway, don't know if I can say that too much. Was awful from January through April due to all the fighting. I was constantly exhausted and crying myself to sleep a lot. I refused to see him in person until things got better over distance. I was willing to fight for us because I was stupid and I loved him. He stopped the gaslighting stuff in April and I allowed him to come visit me in June. It was fantastic. We had a great time. We saw each other a couple of times in June. Girls will get in relationships. They will see all of these red flags, right? They will, I don't know, guys, depending on, your friend group and stuff like that. But people will frequently post on Facebook, and there are like big meme pages that post this kind of crap about how girls laugh collectively together about the fact that they charge first at red flags. Right? You ever notice how a girl will go out there and she will choose to date the guy who's not texting her back or whatever the case may be. And if you're a younger guy, or perhaps you're new to this, you haven't been around the block a few times, you might have been the guy on the other side of the phone trying to talk to that girl, saying, hey, I'll give you a relationship. I really care about you. All of these terrible guys that you've been dealing with, I'm so sorry about that. You know, I'd love to be the one that cares for you. Right? And you might be that guy sitting on that end of the phone until you realize, right, that these girls are lying. Right? They're straight up lying about the types of people that they're interested in. All right, but let's carry on with this story because I actually haven't read it yet. So I'm kind of interested to see what happens here. Here's how I found out I'm probably the other woman. Early in July, he was off the job in a nearby state, making our drive apart 3 hours instead of 2. Doable. I was optimistic that with reduced working hours and him being out of his parents' house, our visits would increase. However, he got quieter over text. The last couple weeks, I've been getting more and more irritated, and while the fighting wasn't like it was this year, I needed more effort from him. Most times he complied. This resulted in me demanding his phone number today. I've been in his life for nearly 2 years. I get a damn phone number. He ignored my text for 10 hours, but after I asked a second time, he gave me his number. Of course, I googled it to make sure it wasn't the local pizza place or something. Yeah, and this is the girl who, by the way, started this whole discussion by saying that she doesn't get attached easily, by the way. Worse, it took me to one of those addresses websites where it lists residents, current, and past. I googled the first girl's name that was listed under past residents, found her Facebook, even her name is beautiful. Wait a minute. He ignored my text, he gave me his number, she googled it to make sure it wasn't the local pizza place or something, but it took you to one of those address websites where it lists residents, current, and past. Right, interesting. And she somehow found a girl here. Okay. She, who's a 30-year-old female, has her profile set to semi-private. I can't see posts in all her pictures, but I can see her profile picture updates. Judging by those, they've been together for years, since 2017 at least. She moved out of state February 2020 to exactly the same location where he lives now. Surprise. Recent photos include a picture of them in August 2020, 9 months into our relationship, dressed up outside her apartment. Their apartment now. Looked like a date night to me. Her with his parents' puppy in January, a year into our relationship. She must have visited him in our state, or he brought the puppy over to her. And one in March of them in front of some pretty rocks. Rocks fairly unique to the state he visited with friends in February. There are a couple of others from earlier in 2020. Due to her privacy settings, I can't read any captions on these photos. They aren't kissing in these photos, they're standing by each other, arms around waist, but I'm like 98% certain he's been cheating on her with me. Now, gentlemen, look, this story is actually, pretty sad and a bit silly on the guy's part. I won't lie to you. That's some pretty scumbag moves right there. It's just funny to note, right, how the point of this story is that, yeah, there'll be red flags and there'll be all these sorts of things and the girls won't get any, notice how this girl is in a situation where she spotted a bunch of red flags, she wasn't being paid attention, she wasn't being committed to fully, okay, and yet she proceeds to continue with the relationship despite saying that she's a cautious person and that she progresses relationships slowly. Notice how she becomes very attached to this guy and her emotions are fully invested in him. Make no mistake, this is a long distance relationship and I guarantee you there would be men near her who would be willing to give her a relationship. I'm not saying that this guy's actions are correct at all. In fact, I think they're kind of scummy. I think lying is overall counterproductive, gentlemen. If anything, for the amount of effort it takes. That's not even making an ethical argument. Just for the pure fact of laziness, guys. Like lying to people is just a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time, and you have to put in more effort maintaining crap. It really is. And then you want to talk about the morals. Then you've got to deal with yourself at the end of the day for lying, right? But just notice the situation here. Going through all of the red flags, dealing with not being committed to. Okay, and this is a very common theme that girls will go through. Anyway, let's keep going. I had a pretty bad anxiety attack when I first saw the pictures. I'm still dizzy even as I sit typing this. I'm sure I'll cry later, but really when I think about it, we didn't have much of a relationship to mourn. It will be embarrassing and painful come Monday when I have to take this picture off my desk at work. I will not want to explain this to everyone, but I'll move on eventually. He was going to come see me tomorrow, but I've already told him not to. I'm hoping he doesn't show up as a surprise. I've never had to deal with a cheater. I've never been the other woman. It's taking me everything not to just text him and tell him I know. I don't know how to go about starving this conversation. Part of me wants to wait until I see my therapist on Monday and ask her advice. We all know how the ladies giving other ladies advice goes. Her specialty is A-word relationships, and she has been a big help earlier this year during the gaslighting. I'm sure she knows safe ways to exit a relationship. This whole like safe ways to exit a relationship, man, it's like notice how the bond is there, and even though his behavior was terrible, she's still her soul is still with him. This is why girls will get in relationships after, they'll be dating a guy, then they'll stop seeing the guy, get in another relationship, but they're still stuck on their ex. It has nothing to do with leaving the relationship safely, man. It's just her feelings are all caught up now, especially because of the fact that he cheated. Right? Cheating is a pretty disgusting thing to do, gentlemen. And really, as sad as it is to say, oftentimes when men cheat on girls, it actually increases their attraction. I know, guys, it's really disgusting to say. It's an icky thing to say. But these girls look at it as just more social proof a lot of the time. Like, oh, I don't want her to win, and oh, he can get another girl. You see, girls attribute more value to dudes who have more access to this sorts of things. Let's keep going. How do I bring this up? Like I mentioned, I don't have anything concrete that says they're still dating. They could just be friends. Violent eye roll. Do I just start by saying, hey, tell me about real girlfriend? Should I wait for my therapist's advice and just go minimal contact until then? Too long didn't read. After Googling my boyfriend's phone number, I discovered he's probably been cheating on his longtime girlfriend with me for 2 years. How do I begin the conversation of telling him I know about her? Guys, we're going to leave today's episode there. Make sure you leave your comments and thoughts below. Always interesting to see what you gentlemen have to say. And just wrapping up today's show, guys, don't forget about the art competition if you would like to enter. First place gets 350 US all the way down to 100, with 4th to 10th getting honorable mentions if you wish. Submissions need to go to mrfiend11@gmail.com, and more details can be found in the description and pretty much everywhere, the Discord, all that. And the artwork that you should submit, gentlemen, is backgrounds for the show, so new scenes and stuff like that. But like I said, details will be linked in the description with cash prizes and all that goodies. But guys, we're going to leave today's episode there. Make sure you subscribe on your way out, and take care of yourselves. I will see you boys in the next video. Peace.